More likely than not, you're struggling because your goals are too hard. When I say your goals are too hard, I'm not talking about the end result. I'm talking about the implementation path that you're trying to utilize to get there is usually way too strict, way too difficult. Time and time again, when I talk to people on coaching calls, and I ask them about their routine, I ask them about their schedule, I ask them about their ideal situation of what they're trying to do on a day-to-day basis that they believe will result in where they want to do, it's one of two things. They're either doing nothing, they have no intentionality of this is what I'm doing to improve, or the things that they're trying to do to improve are like some crazy like monk mode strict thing. They want to wake up at 5 a.m. and cold shower and meditate and all of these things that you guys have probably heard over and over and over again. Things that are not sustainable are not going to get you there, because what you're not trying to do and what you don't have to do is go from doing nothing to doing everything, going from doing nothing to being some Buddhist monk in the mountains who has the most crazy routine and diet and exercise plan and work habits and, you know, is able to put in 16, 18-hour days and all of these things that you try and then you burn out after a week or two and then you feel bad about yourself and then you do nothing for the next month or two as you wallow in your despair of feeling like failure because you're not good enough to do the 5 a.m. club, right? It's just not necessary. And it's probably why a lot of you are struggling to see any real long lasting results, because the goal is not to sprint and get to the finish line. The goal is a consistent state of being. The goal is to change the lifestyle, the habits forever, not to do it just long enough to achieve something, right? Achieving things is the byproduct of just changing who you are and how you behave. And you don't need to change completely who you are and how you behave in a single moment, in a single day, in a single week, in a single month completely in order to get any type of real results. Small incremental changes is where it's at. It starts from fixing your sleeping habits, just doing that for just a week, 2 weeks, a month, just focusing on that and only that will take you a long way. Then fixing your eating habits and just slowly, incrementally adding things, adjusting things, and making sure that you're doing things in a way that is sustainable for the long term. You're not working out to get to the six pack abs, you're working out to be able to maintain it. You don't need to, it's like when people try to crash diet and then they balloon back once they got to their goal weight. It's not about getting there. It's a byproduct of the change. So focus on what's sustainable, focus on what you can do long term, focus on who you can become. And I promise you, you're going to feel a lot more fulfilled. It's going to be a lot easier, and you can maintain these small incremental. In the last year, I've picked up running, and I think I've ran a total of 800 or 900 kilometers since I've started running. Now, right now, as it is, I run about 40 kilometers every single week. But it started off with walking, then it started off with jogging 1 kilometer every twice a week. Then it became jogging 2, 3 kilometers 2, 3 times a week. Then it became daily 1 kilometer. And then it slowly, incrementally got more and more to where I'm at now, where I run consistently 40 kilometers a week. But if I tried to go and run 40 kilometers a week, when I first started running, I would have said, this is so hard, and I would have quit. My goal, my implementation pathway would have just been way too difficult. And then I would have quit. And I know that because I've tried those kinds of things before and it didn't work until I started incrementally changing it. Same thing with my diet. Slowly peeling things back, peeling things away. But if I started eating right the way I'm eating right now, if I started doing that a year ago, it would have quit. It wouldn't have worked. I would have struggled. So don't listen to anyone that tries to tell you that you need to start doing all of these things right now. Completely flip the script, because those short bursts of motivation don't get you anywhere, because motivation isn't lasting. You need to change who you are And that comes small incremental changes stacked up over a duration of time. Go easier on yourself. The consistency is where it's at. The stacking is where it's at. You can't do it all in a day. You can't do it all in a week. You can't do it all in a month. You can't do it all in a year, but you can make massive changes over time if you make small changes today. That's it. That's all it is. A lot of times, and then the last thing I want to say on this is you also never need to be perfect. A lot of you have great days and then you have bad days. And the only reason you're not getting to where you want to go is because you have more bad days than the good ones. You only need to win more than 50% of the time, usually, to actually get to where you want to go. Every week, if you're relaxing on the weekends or whatever, or you're recovering on the weekends and you have a 5-day work week, you only need 3 to 4 of those days to be days where you hit everything. You got up on time, you ate the right diet, you did your workout, you studied your sales, whatever, you did your role plays. You only need 3 or 4 of those days to be winners. And when you look back on the month and you say, okay, out of 30 days this month, 17, 18, 19 days were great days that I won. That's usually enough to make consistent progress forward. But what happens is people look at their week and they say, oh, instead of looking at I had 4 great days this week, they look at the 2 days that weren't as good as they wanted it to be, or the 3 days that weren't as good as they wanted it to be, and they allow that to demotivate them and put them down, and then they beat themselves up over those 2 or 3 days, and they wallow in that feeling for the next week. And now their whole next week is ruined as well because of those 2 or 3 days, when if all they did was say, you know what, 4 days of awesomeness, next week I'm going to make it 4.5, and they push and maybe they don't make it 4.5, but they have another 4 good days. Over time, that's usually enough. You don't need to have a perfect week every week, right? This last year, I lost about 70 pounds. And last week, I downed an entire bag of chips on Sunday night. Last Sunday, entire bag of chips. But I still lost a pound this week. I still weigh less today than I did last week. Because that day I ate in a surplus, but the rest of the days, like since Sunday, so Sunday I was ate in a surplus. Monday, Tuesday, today's Wednesday, I've been in a deficit. Guess what? I didn't get fatter. Right? Because it's not about, but what I could have done was Sunday when I ate the whole bag of chips because I was watching a boxing event. Was it Saturday night? Sunday night? No, it was Saturday night. I could have been like, oh man, I ate all of those chips. And then Sunday I could have gave up. And then Monday I could have been depressed about Saturday eating all the chips. And then Tuesday I could have been sad about it. Then today, Wednesday, I could have been beating myself up still. And then, yeah, maybe I would be fatter. But because I realized that, yeah, okay, whatever, I overate on Saturday, I'm just going to lock in Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and we'll be back, if not further. That's what I did. And in the grand scheme, when you zoom in, Saturday looks crap, but when you zoom out, the trend line overall is down. A lot of you are so zoomed in to like today sucked, and you're so focused that today sucked that you don't realize that the month was great. Some of you just need to zoom out. Stop being so strict and stop worrying and stop beating yourself up for longer than the actual mistake was. Right? You make one mistake and you beat yourself up for 4 days instead of just being okay with the mistake and then having the next 4 days be good or great. And away you go. Overarchingly, you're winning. When you guys, you'll see like you're going to be stuck in this constant loop of beating yourself up until you figure this stuff out. So hopefully that helps. And I'll see you guys in the next video.